I've been having a hard time sleeping lately. Ever since I posted my last video, my dreams are so strange. Images of large shadowy creatures, evil things, gelatinous things, the depths of the sea, undersea realms, ancient things, old things, elder things. I'm tired. I haven't slept. Hi, I'm Rob, and do you know why I haven't slept? Because I have a constantly racing mind. I did a little video a while ago about the cosmic horror and looking at its creator, H.P. Lovecraft, and his short story, The Call of Cthulhu. In that video, I focused on the ancient idol that was found by a New Orleans police inspector during a raid in the bayou. So if you're new here, we cover the film genres of sci-fi, horror, action-adventure, prop culture, and all things geek. So if you want more entertaining videos on this subject, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be aware of all my uploads. Today I want to focus on another prop from that story, the whore in clay. So, let's take a look. We meet this ancient terrible god when Lovecraft first wrote about him in the summer of 1926. However, it was 2 years later in February 1928 that the Weird Tales published it. As usual, when asked about his inspiration for the story and the enormous creature Cthulhu, and as he did with many stories, he claimed that it came to him in a dream he had in 1919. Now, Lovecraft tells us that in his dream he visited a museum of antiquities in the hometown of Providence, Rhode Island. Now, Lovecraft attempted to convince the old curator there to buy an odd bas relief or bas relief. It means low relief, more like what you see on the top of a coin. Lovecraft himself had sculpted it. The curator, who initially scoffs at him for trying to sell something recently made to a museum of antique objects, Lovecraft then remembers himself answering the curator with this response. "Why do you say that this thing is new? The dreams of men are older than brooding Egypt, or the contemplative Sphinx, or garden-girdled Babylon. And this was fashioned in my dreams." Now, this line finds its way into his story, The Call of Cthulhu. Lovecraft tells the story of the slumbering Cthulhu in three parts: the whore in clay, the tale of Inspector Legrasse, and the madness from the sea. Now, the whore in clay introduces us to our narrator. We know about our narrator that he is the grandnephew of Professor Emeritus of Semitic Languages at Brown University, which is in Providence, Rhode Island. His uncle's name is George Gamel Angel, and of course he is an authority on ancient inscriptions. His uncle recently died when he was returning from the port. He fell after he was bumped by a sailor, whom, of course, Lovecraft uses derogatory terms, therefore causing the reader to be suspicious of the sailor. As the only living relative of Professor Angel, he must go through his uncle's things. He says that most of the research papers will be published by the American Archaeological Society. The society, which is, in fact, like Miskatonic University in the fictitious town of Arkham, it too is imaginary. Lovecraft was great at giving life to his New England region by mixing fact, fiction, and history, and other contemporary stories by authors who were his friends. Now, the nephew comes across the locked box, which he eventually finds the key and opens it to see the bas relief of that hideous creature. Going through his uncle's notes, he pieces together what is in essence a quote-unquote found footage narrative, only in print. This is how stories were told in retrospect, such as Dracula, for example. Our narrator not only sees the box with a clay sculpture, but as well a manuscript. And for us here in the 21st century, a manuscript is just a handwritten document. Now back to the bas relief. Our narrator describes it like this: "If I say that my somewhat extravagant imagination yields simultaneous pictures of an octopus, a dragon, and a human caricature, I shall not be unfaithful to the spirit of the thing, a pulpy, tentacled head surmounted a grotesque and scaly body with rudimentary wings, but it was the general outline of the whole which made it most shockingly frightful. Behind the figure was a vague suggestion of a cyclopean architectural background." A year prior, on March 1st, 1925, on the night before, there was a slight earthquake. We are told of a young man by the name of Henry Anthony Wilcox, a sculptor from a good family, but he is considered a strange and gaunt-looking fellow. Like Lovecraft's dream on the March 1st, the young man brings the bas relief to the professor. The professor reacts as one would suspect, with suspicion. But after a moment, the professor realizes that he has seen this monstrous creature before. While the professor initially believed that Wilcox was part of a secret society or a member of a cult, he realizes that the kid had no idea what he had sculpted or why it called to him from that great cyclopean city he dreamt of that scared the crap out of him. So the professor starts investigating. He hires a clipping service, a company that employs people around the country to look through newspapers for articles which the professor hired the service to find. So the papers were all brief notes, some of the accounts of the strange dreams of different people. The cuttings largely alluded to unusual mental illnesses and outbreaks of group hysteria or mania in the spring of 1925. Now, also in the document are notes of various acquaintances of the professor who, upon the request, recorded their dreams. Average people in the society and business didn't really have much to report. However, it was the artists and the poets that had the strangest dreams. And the story says that if they all got together and compared their notes, they would have certainly gone insane. So from a February 28th to April 2nd, a large proportion of them had dreamed very bizarre things, the intensity of the dream being immeasurably strong during the period when our sculpture actually goes kind of crazy. It is even mentioned that a year later, the famed painter Ardouin Bruneau hung the blasphemous dreams landscape in the Paris Spring Salon. However, on March 22nd, Wilcox came down with a raging fever that lasted until April 2nd, when the fever broke. All that time he raved about the crap and the nightmares. Also, the other clippings and the dreams note that the professor collected started getting even more strange. After April 2nd, it all kind of ended. H.P. Lovecraft was obsessed with dreams. He devoted a whole cycle to them. They drove his thoughts, and he wrote about how the cosmic entities affected humans. In the Call of Cthulhu, the elder god was awoken from his slumber in the depths of Ry'leh due to an earthquake on the other side of the world. Who does Cthulhu dream of? Not us. We are nothing to them. In the Hebrew Bible, Jacob, son of Isaac, has a vivid dream of a ladder descending from the heavens and him fighting with an angel. Or in Stanisław Lem's 1961 book and the film adaptions of Solaris, that extraterrestrial aliens communicate through visions and imagery that challenges their sanity. Or for that matter, 1997's Event Horizon, where visions and dreams from the dimensions of hell beckon the crew. Australian Aborigines had a concept of dreamtime, where concepts of Everywhen, during which the land was inhabited by ancestral figures, often of heroic proportions or with supernatural abilities. Now, I purchased this off of Etsy from the artist Unpacking FX. When it comes to Lovecraft, there are many artists who create some really beautiful pieces of Lovecraft-related designs, and Etsy is the first place I go to. Tell me if you found this video entertaining. Let me know in the comments what you think about this piece, and if you liked the video, hit the thumbs up, or if you didn't, slam the thumbs down. Subscribe and ring the bell to get notified when all my videos come out. Now make sure you watch this video right here. Take care.